Great to see you all, as well as the rest of the attendees. We're really excited to start and talk more about the SEO trends in 2023. So, without further ado, I think we can start and go to the first introduction slide, like the big, beautiful scandiweb logo slide, SEO trends in 2023. So that's the topic for today, where me and my colleagues will be talking about what's going to happen this year. And speaking of me, my name is Hendrix. I'm a marketing project manager. And today I'm joined by my lovely colleagues, Dana Ruode and Haralds Vanags, both of whom are senior SEO specialists. Very knowledgeable guys. And few fun facts about ourselves, because that's important to share. I really enjoy Marvel movies. Haralds is into music production, and Dana likes hiking and traveling, possibly explaining why she has been to Ljubljana. But yeah, Dana, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone. As with a lot of SEO experts, I didn't start my career this way. Kind of just magically ended up here in scandiweb and started working as an SEO specialist. But previously, I was actually a small business owner. I had a couple of hotels here in Riga, Latvia, and you know, the competition is quite aggressive in that field. So I had to look out for ways how to market my business better, how to show up on local searches, meaning Google My Business and maps, as well as how to kind of upsell different products and services that we provided, like tours, for example. So this was what sparked my interest first. We created a couple of websites, started working on content creation, and decided that I need to change something in my life. So SEO was the thing that interested me the most, and here I am. Here in scandiweb, I mostly work with SEO retainer clients, so clients that are working with us for years at a time sometimes. And we create strategies for them, both considering on-page stuff, link building, as well as technical SEO. But my favorite part is on-page stuff, because I'm also a content writer and copywriter on the side. So this is a little, thing that I love the best.
Very nice, very good introduction. And it's funny how people who might not be involved with SEO at first turn out to be doing SEO things, and then they later on realize that they were doing essentially SEO. I think it's the story for a lot of people, but that's Dana. And we are also here joined by Haralds. Haralds, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so hi everyone, I'm Haralds. My background before kind of seriously going into SEO was one in web development, actually, mainly working on client sites for Latvian businesses. And yeah, first serious steps in SEO was right after, and it started when I started exploring niche website world and actually building niche websites for myself, which I still do today in my free time. And in scandiweb, I work mostly with on-page SEO, just as Dana does. And I also like to read about and experiment with advanced SEO concepts, techniques, like semantic SEO. And yeah, that topic we will actually touch upon today as well.
Indeed. So yeah, a few final introductory notes. We're all located in Riga, working in scandiweb, and I think we can get started, because our agenda for today only consists of 4 topics, but they're quite an extensive topics, and I hope you'll enjoy what we have prepared. We will be starting off with the SEO challenges in 2023, then jumping on to the SEO trends in 2023. Talk a bit more about the responsible use of artificial intelligence, because Chat-GPT is a common topic, I think, almost in every industry. And then, as promised at the end, we have a QA session. Let's start. SEO challenges, which can also be turned into an opportunity in 2023. So, the first challenge, we had quite a lot of Google algorithm updates in 2022, Dana, right?
Well, as you can see in the image, there were quite many. Most of those were user experience related. However, at the same time, why it is a challenge. Actually, there was a HubSpot's survey of 400 plus marketers, and they said that this is probably one of the things that they are afraid of the most, algorithm updates, because they're quite unpredictable, and I get it. But at the same time, I don't think that we should be scared of them as much as we as much as we can view them as opportunities, as much as we can see them as wins for our websites whenever, well, these algorithms are not affecting us.
Indeed, we had quite a lot of them, and probably the prediction for the 2023 is that we'll have a few more. But Dana, tell us about how do we stay on top of them, because there are so many, as you mentioned.
Well, one of the things is stay informed, stay on top of industry news. So, for example, follow some newsletters, or if you have your favorite SEO specialist on Twitter, and just follow them, because whenever there is something new, whenever there is a big algorithm update rolling out, we will definitely let you know, because that is what we are focusing on. The second thing would be just do not panic and wait for the dust to settle, because in most of the cases, first of all, you might not be affected by the algorithm update, especially if you're doing content right, if you're updating your website constantly, and if you're working on your site. And in some cases, it can also be a bit of an error from Google's side. So they realized that the new algorithm rollout wasn't as successful as they thought. So they're kind of reverting back to the previous version. And yeah, another thing is, of course, listening to what Google is saying. They're not always transparent, as we know that they love to speak in just like very broad terms, but the baseline is still there. Why this algorithm update was there, why it was necessary. So, for example, if it was helpful content upgrade, that we know that this is the focus there. We need to focus more on the content that we're putting out there on our websites. And yeah, and that's also kind of the fourth and last point, but not the least. It's just always create quality content, because as I mentioned before, recent algorithm updates were mostly concentrated on user experience.
Yeah. And I think it will be the trend in 2023, as Google is always trying to evolve their search engine. So every algorithm that they create is to increase user experience on the search engine. So yeah, be careful with them. But at the same time, if you're doing things right, probably not that much to worry about, but keep them in mind. Yeah, to segue into the next topic, which we want to talk about, there is a quote I'd like to mention, which is that today and in the future, featured snippets and zero-click results will rule the search engine result pages. In many cases, they are the same. Search results that appear on the top of the search engine result pages, which already give an answer to a question that people are looking for. So the prominence of zero-click results is going to probably increase, and Dana will tell us more about the featured snippets and zero-click results.
Again, rolling back to user experience, I guess we have all just searched, these explain me as I'm 5 questions on Google just to quickly fact check something. And that's going to still be relevant in 2023, especially with voice search. But if we're looking at statistics, we see that almost 60% of desktop searches result in no clicks because people already see the answer on top of the results. And 30% of mobile searches end the same way. So how can we leverage that? How can we look at it in a different perspective, not to take it in as a disaster, but as an opportunity? One way would be to kind of split our SEO strategies in 2 ways. So one is optimizing your website for clicks, for search visits that generate traffic that you can see on Google Search Console. And the other one is optimizing for 0-click searches. So that would be just showing up on featured snippets, bringing your brand awareness out there, engage with users. And this also doesn't mean that you won't get any clicks, but for example, if you're doing some visual cues like videos or something, it would result in clicks on YouTube, for example. But it's just, it's a bit harder to kind of see where it all comes together.
Right. With that being said, I think you wanted to also briefly just show a visual example and walk us through the 0-click results and why they're happening, and how do featured snippets and everything else that's on search engine result pages affect that.
So I guess here are the most popular featured snippets that we can see on search results. Obviously, the first thing is ads, which is kind of similar, but not really SEO field. It's more paid per click advertisements, but also it's related questions. I think these are the most popular ones. People also ask section, just kind of expanding on the search query that you just searched. If you're looking for something specific like a movie or actor, then you will probably see a knowledge panel on the side, on the right of your search results, showing which year the movie was presented, maybe some key details about your brand. And if you see that there is a knowledge panel when you search for your brand, definitely claim it. Also a good tip there. It can help you out. Same thing goes if you are having a local business like a restaurant, or you have a mortar store, you want to show up on the results on Google My Business with your Google My Business page in your local tree pack with the map attached to it. And there are a couple of ways how to do it from SEO side. And as I said, visual search is getting more and more attention every year. So images, videos, creating some cool titles for these alt texts, all that goes into consideration here as well.
Indeed. And I think it will just continue to be a trend for 2023. And obviously you have to understand your keywords and your queries that you're using in your SEO strategy, and account for that, because you cannot really do much about the fact that there are 0-click results, but you can tailor your strategy to capture it the best way you can for your brand. Moving on to challenge number 2. I think it's the same challenge, but just an extension of it, and the question to Dan actually. How to use featured snippet to your advantage?
Well, the first thing is to think about experience of the searcher. What do they see? What do they want to see when they're searching for this specific query? And how can you and your brand be part of that experience? And if we're just talking about some examples, then imagine a situation where you had a well-ranking blog article about how to fold a t-shirt. It ranked in the first positions, but suddenly in the last couple of months, you see that it's not bringing in any traffic. There's no click. clicks and what happened really? Well, most likely it could be that the search result page and SERPs have changed in the sense that there are a lot more feature snippets featured there. There could be videos added, images, maybe some instructions on the top of the page, which is the zero-click results that we talked about before. There are a couple of solutions there. So one of the things is definitely look at your competitors. Don't kind of steal and borrow their tactics, see what they are doing better than you. So for example, if we see the first result where there are instructions, maybe they have structured their content in bullet points, or they have added heading tags on some subtopics. So it's easier for search engines to actually see what the content is all about, and it's easier for them to release that information and create these featured snippets. Then another thing would be, especially for informational content, answer FAQs, frequently asked questions, add structured data markup, because it gives you a lot better chance to rank for people also ask questions as well. And as we see in this particular case, how to fold a shirt, visual materials are important. So videos, infographics, if your article doesn't have these, then probably it's important to spend some time and create similar content there as well, because these also can give you good backlinks pointing to your site. People share these more often, so it's really cool.
Indeed. So use the zero-click results and feature snippets to your advantage. Moving on, challenge number 3, Dana, we'll talk about the search intent, right?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of extending the challenge too. Feature snippets, what people are looking for, how search results look like. So we would always stay on top what exactly users want to find when they are typing the specific keyword in Google. So in general, we kind of divide it in 4 parts. So there are informational, navigational, commercial, and transactional queries. Of course, the most important one for us is transactional, especially if we're an e-commerce business. But it's I don't think that you should exclude all the other ones. So when we're talking about informational content, that would be the t-shirt, how to fold guide, how to fold this t-shirt. If we're looking for navigational content, then that would be already branded search queries. That would be, some people are too lazy to type in facebook.com, so they just look for Facebook on Google and then click the first result. There are commercial results where people are already in this user journey where they are considering which product exactly they want to buy, but they want to find more specific info, which are the best items, which they want to compare different 2 products to each other. So that's something that we can have a look at as well. Of course, reviews matter, and I think they matter more than ever in these times, because people are doing their own research more oftenly. And then, of course, the most important one would be transactional, which the key queries would be buy, shop, order online, but not necessarily. Sometimes they can be simple keywords, like just very specific one, like, I don't know, I'm looking for red toe socks, and that's already something that I have decided on, or funny socks. I know what I'm looking for, and I know what I want to buy. I just want to find the product.
Indeed. So know your search intent when doing any type of keyword analysis. Yeah, but I think many people might have the question, actually, how to determine what is the search intent. So Dana, some tips.
Google it, I guess is the best answer for it. No, seriously, Google it to see what shows up, how Google understands this query, and that will give you a few pointers how you can create your SEO strategy for 2023. So for example, if I'm looking for best bike, these are the search results that you see in the picture that shows up. So there's a buying guide, there's best bikes, blog articles, and that makes me believe that it's a commercial search intent. So people are using this query when they're researching products before they purchase. So if you want to rank for this keyword, you probably will have to create an extensive buyer's guide. And if you want to compete with the guys who already are on top 3 results, you will have to add more information, like more attributes, maybe bigger product kind of, more products to your article, more additional variables. But however, if we're looking a bit further in this topic, Henriks, could you turn to the next page? It's not always that easy. There are some cases where results are not that clear. So for example, if I would search for whey protein powder, the results are quite different. So there's a transactional query from Amazon, then there are commercial query for best whey protein powders, okay, popular products, and underneath there are even like informational one about the hidden dangers of buying this product. So the search intent doesn't really fall into any of the previously mentioned ones, it's mixed. So then you have to think about your strategy further. So whether or not you want to sell your transactional item, is it a transactional page? So then you would maybe specify your keyword a bit more and add like buy whey protein to your title. If you would write a buying guide and you want to kind of jump into this user journey where people are deciding on their purchases, then you would target keyword best whey protein. And that would be a bit more specific and it would help you out with ranking for this keyword.
Indeed, understanding the intent between the keywords and queries is really important. And but that's not the final challenge we have here for 2023 in this presentation. Challenge number 4 is actually something we've noticed recently, is the Google continuous scrolling that you can see on actually Google search. Dana, do you have any comments on this?
Well, yeah, it will affect us in some good ways and some bad ways. So you know that SEOs often said that say that where to hide a dead body, second page of search results, but actually statistics show that first 3 results on Google Search Console are the ones that are clicked the most. So what does infinite scrolling means for us? Well, first of all, there will no longer be a real page 1. So top 3 results might lose some attention. At the same time, it gives opportunity to those who are not on the top 3 because more results will be viewed. But also, I think that the biggest reason for this feature to be introduced is actually Google wanting to showcase their own products. As you see in the scrolling video on the side, there are a lot of products, there are a lot of like buyer's guides. People also ask sections as well as related searches for you to kind of spend more time on their platform. So what can we do? Well, first of all, page titles, meta titles, and meta descriptions will be more relevant than ever. Just writing content that is kind of click through rate gives like value to people, that they want to click the result, and that really is specific about the content you're talking about. For products, if you're selling products, then the most important thing is to make sure that your product pages have structured data markup. You have reviews, that all the attributes are added on the page, like price, shipping, information, anything that could be relevant, because that will make you, even if not stand out, but at least be on the same level as other brands. And yeah, make use of the featured snippets, as we said before.
Indeed. And moving on to the challenge number 5, which we wanted to highlight, is the limited crawl frequency, which was announced by Google. Dana?
This is just a wrap up, a quick wrap up. Basically, every big company nowadays want to be sustainable. So does Google. So they have announced that they will possibly limit crawl frequency. What does it mean for us? So there are 2 crawling possibilities that Google does. It's crawling new content, or crawling content that was already existing, but maybe it's refreshed. So the refreshed content might be crawled less frequently. So if you suddenly want to spark the content, optimize it, it might take a bit longer for Google to actually realize that the changes have been there. So the rankings might take a bit longer to kind of show up. But what it means is just create quality content from the get-go with all the on-page elements it will require to rank.
Right. And there could be some more discussion we can have about this and how it affects the technical SEO and website migration, where a lot of new URLs are introduced. However, we'll not go into depth with this one, and just move forward with the challenge number 6 of Google shopping and merchant listings.
Yeah, as we saw in the best printer scroll, infinited scroll, there were a lot of product listings as well, product carousels. So Google is really pushing their Google shopping. And we saw that even before pandemic, where the free listings were introduced, but now this year we saw merchant listings as a new feature for Google Search Console. What does it mean? Again, it's important to have correct structured data markup, because even if you don't have Google Merchant Center, if you're not paying for this as a service, it is possible for you to show up on Google results just by actually having relevant information on your product pages. So correct title, include all the attributes like color, material, and also make sure that you have high quality images, that you use alt texts for these images, so it's easier for search engines to actually discover these product pages.
Indeed. And extra source of advertising free still up until this day from Google Shopping, and having correct product structure data added in, which you can see underneath the Search Console in merchant listings. Right, moving on, and that kind of wraps up our challenges section. Now we are going to be focusing on trends. And one thing I wanted to emphasize and tell a bit of a story about is that whilst we were preparing this webinar, brainstorming about it, we were thinking about, maybe we should just talk about Chat-GPT and like voice search that everyone talks about every year, or some other topics that are trendy and click-worthy, or more like clickbait per se. But we decided not to go this route of showcasing the trends that would be kind of clickbaity. And we'll talk about some slightly more difficult concepts that we are actually using in our day-to-day life as in marketeers and SEO specialists, that revolve around creating an optimal SEO strategy and really nailing it down. So excited to share it with you guys, and with a slight slightly longer introduction. We are going to start with the semantic SEO and entity SEO, and Haralds will start with this chapter.
Yes. So what is semantic and entity SEO? Although it's been around for a while already, for Google, it started in 2013 when they introduced hummingbird algorithm and semantic search. It hasn't been that vastly spoken about, and overall was kind of obscure, and there was not a lot of information about it. But as you can see on the right, there has been a huge jump in interest in 2022, and the buzz has kind of stayed a little bit. So people are starting to talk about it a bit more. So at its core, what is semantic SEO? Basically, it's a process of optimizing and creating content around topics instead of just plain individual keywords. And it is a comprehensive strategy, and it aims to answer all user queries about a certain topic rather than focusing on one or few specific keywords. It's much easier to have all questions answered in one article than going through 5 different ones to find information that you are actually looking for. And semantic SEO overall gives us a better and more organized way to how we actually look at content, and thinking about your website and pages on your website instead of blocks of text, but a network of concepts and relationships between them. And with this way of thinking, you kind of translate it into creation of optimized user journey, where for each stage, each content piece has its own place.
Indeed. We'll have a couple of more bullet points about what is semantic SEO, and right now we wanted to showcase in the real-life example. Haralds will walk us through it.
Yes, here you can see a simple query. That person is looking how to get rid of pimples. And yeah, in this case, they would naturally wonder about few subtopics, like how to do it quick, how to do it overnight. And another potential way would be what are the natural ways of how to do it, how to not involve pharmaceuticals, or maybe don't have any adverse side effects of that. And yeah, as you can see on the right, you can see only 2 results, but basically the entire page of the SERP is related on how to get rid of pimples fast. So this is kind of based on an in-depth understanding of actual user needs. And this is one of the core ways how we approach it within semantic SEO scope. And overall, this approach gives the user all the necessary information on the subject, and yeah, it decreases the risk of them not finding what they're looking for and going to your competitor.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And basically, we want to illustrate the difference that there is between using semantic SEO as an approach versus doing it traditionally, as it was done quite a few years back. And basically, I'd like to again mention a quote. Once upon a time, SEO was done through means of finding the right keyword and placing them throughout the website with every synonym known to mankind. SEO specialist walks in a bar, pub, inn, brewery, etc., etc. So we're talking about the fact that we ourselves internally, we're starting to use more of the semantic SEO approach and in our day-to-day workflows, essentially. And this is the trend we see and want to think the whole of the SEO community will use because it's much more better to optimize for the queries and the entities semantically rather than just on the keywords level and stuff, a lot of keywords, which actually does not work anymore in 2023. But yeah, about keywords and entities, Haralds, can you quickly just explain what are keywords and how are they different from entities?
Yes, so at the core of semantic SEO, we have entities. And how are they different from keywords? Basically, entities are concepts or ideas that have distinct attributes and characteristics that they share with others of its kind. Each entity is independent and it has relationships with other entities. And yeah, keywords are strings and entities are things. And keywords are open to interpretation and they are ambiguous. You can see this illustrated on the first image on the right side, where you type orange into the search and you get orange the fruit or orange the color. And as with entities, things, they are well defined. If we are basing our research on fruits and search for apple, we actually won't see fruits. Google algorithm automatically gives us the result of Apple company because it recognizes that intent of keyword Apple is to actually find this organization. And yeah, another thing about entities, they are language agnostic. So concepts stay the same regardless of the language, but keywords to refer to them changed every time.
Indeed. Cool. We'll move forward with the entities and relationships, Haralds.
Yes. When Google tries to kind of understand content on your page and on the website in general, it uses natural language processing and machine learning techniques. And yeah, it goes through the tasks of entity extraction, kind of trying to understand the relationships between different concepts and their attributes. And yeah, on the right, you can see this represented in a semantic content network, which includes films, TV series as an entities, and other related entities like cast, actors, and other movies that they've been part of. And how you can use this to improve your SEO strategy. Well, this approach as a baseline is a very good way to actually plan to cover every potential problem or question your audience might have related to a topic. Also, this approach is used to build a logical and user-friendly information architecture on a single page and on a website level. Because, yeah, this semantic SEO understanding is really trying to mimic human logic and how people think about things and their relationships. It also serves as a basis for user and search engine friendly pillar and cluster content, and is one of the core ideas behind achieving topical authority on something that you want to do it for.
Indeed, topical authority. Yeah, moving forward, we'll just a quick example of the semantic search results in action. Me myself, I'm an Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, and I would never ever Google such question because I do know who is the giant green guy in the Avengers movies. It's Hulk, and the actor that plays it is Mark Ruffalo. But this is a good example of how to think about these semantic concepts that yeah, basically there's a lot of information on the internet, and you cannot necessarily rely just on this simple keyword research as you could in the past. So understanding entities, how semantically they are connected, will really help to get you an edge in your SEO strategy in 2023. However, we are not done yet with the semantics. And Haralds wanted to share a bit more about how do entities and keywords work together.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, we might think that one or the other might be obsolete now, but not really. They are still both used very much, but you kind of have to be strategic about how you actually do it. And yeah, here I wanted to provide an example. Like, let's imagine you have a movie streaming website. The main entity is movie. And on a single movie page, there are certain information about the movie that users expect there to be, like name of the movie, language, genre, length, year, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes rating, film audience rating, cast, director, and country of origin. These are some of the basic ones that people would expect to have, but perhaps there are more. And yeah, the thing is, if your page would not feature some of these attributes, it would be extremely likely that search engines would prefer a competitor that actually does feature it. And by you not featuring it, user experience is very likely to actually suffer based on that. And yeah, on the right, you can see the illustration of knowledge panel, which is also a great representation of entities and their attributes. It's for the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You can see IMDb rating, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritics, also Google's rating, description, release dates, director, etc., etc. And yeah, these are some of the ways and ideas of actual attributes that you could utilize in addition to this.
Indeed. So think about the information you're putting in from the entity's perspective as well. Yeah, but we have another example, Haralds, right?
Yes, this is a more practical example, which is kind of illustrating them working in conjunction with keywords. And yeah, now that you have covered actually your main entity and covered all the important attributes of it on your streaming website, think of how you can use them to actually organize your content and provide more angles for people to actually find you. And one of the most basic ones would be genre categorization. This is widely used and basically a mandatory one, which is expected by users streaming movies and even buying DVDs. And keyword example for this would be stream, your genre, and movies. Another one would be by popularity and trends. And there was a time when everyone was trying to watch Tiger King, or people were raving about Squid Games. And yeah, this can be used to target keywords like trending movies, new release movies. Then we have MPAA rating, which is also important angle and consideration for person. The case would be when parents are looking for a movie to watch with their children. They would not want to have a movie that features a lot of violence. So they're looking for stream G-rated movies, keyword. And yeah, also categorization by IMDb rating. IMDb rating and Rotten Tomatoes rating is often used way how people assess movie quality. And you can use them to create curated lists of movies or even creating genre and other attribute combinations. And keyword example for that would be IMDb top 50 horror movies, where we have genre and IMDb, and even worst IMDb movies, because some people are into that as well.
Indeed. So if you actually are a streaming site owner, I think we gave you a lot of ideas of what content to produce, or at least the way you should think, or at least we suggest you to think about creating new content and optimizing it well for search engines. So to wrap it up, Haralds, let's summarize it all. What are the main takeaways and tips?
Yes, for semantic SEO, one of the most important things would be when you would like to cover new concept or expand on an existing topic, and you are thinking of creating a new page, for example, or a new blog post. it's always extremely important to actually evaluate SERP similarity, as you might find out that that topic that you want to dedicate a page is not actually expected by users to have its own page. This example could be like recipe ingredients. It has notable search volume, but people would expect ingredients to be covered on the recipe page, not have its own separate article just on ingredients. Also, very, very important is to consider your product offering if you would like to introduce additional ways to group your products. Like make sure your product collection and count actually supports that. And to illustrate this with movie example, you want to add German movie DVDs as a category on your streaming website, but you only have 2 products, 2 movies, while your competitors have 100 products. It's basically impossible that you will outrank them simply on the fact that they have far bigger selection than you have. And yeah, this is product selection in e-commerce and in general is one of the cornerstones of good user experience. So always consider that. Another one is structured data. As mentioned before, it's very important. And search engines are computers, and structured data is a language that they actually understand. And in context of semantic SEO, there are actually some other structured data types that can be used to create external associations with entities that are covered on Wikipedia, and yeah, even associate some concepts with them. And for semantic SEO, it's extremely important to provide context. That way, search engine can actually tell if you are talking about Apple the company or Apple the fruit. And last but not least, utilize topical maps. It's a great way to actually give structure to your website and offer visual overview of topical and page relationships. And it can be extremely powerful tool to track content creation efforts and even keyword targeting related to that content.
Indeed. Haralds mentioned the topical maps as a final takeaway, but I think many of us are wondering what it is, and that is actually our second trend of the 2023. What are they? What are topical maps?
Yes, this concept also has not been talked about that much previously. And in 2022, websites started popping up that actually offer this topical maps as a service. And yeah, understanding how Google actually structures its knowledge of entities and their relationships is more important than ever. And if your website and your content that is not aligned with this understanding that Google has, you will have problems and your results will leave much to be desired. And basically, what are topical maps? In simple terms, it's a visual representation of topic, keyword, or entity, or page relationships on the website, or even collection of websites if you want to go outside the scope of your own website. And topical maps can be used as guidelines for optimized information structure. It can also be used to illustrate gaps between your and competitor websites, as well as easy to digest way to look at topic relationships on your website. And our recommended way, and the one that we use ourselves, is creating topical maps themselves visually through the use of mind mapping tools, and combining that with Google Sheets, where we actually have keyword data for each of the nodes that we have on our mind maps. Both are equally important.
Indeed. So topical maps are very powerful tool to base your content strategy on in 2023. Yeah, but about the relationship types within the topical maps.
Yeah. Basically, the main way page relationships are built is through internal linking, and the topical maps, we kind of try to use them to actually visualize internal linking relationships between pages concepts. And here are some common types of relationships that can be represented through them. One of the most popular ones is, of course, category structure. They are basically mandatory taxonomies, most common ones present on pretty much any e-commerce site. And topical map can be used to represent and illustrate category and subcategory tree to see what you currently have and perhaps even see what you're currently lacking. Also, you can represent entity attribute relationships through the use of them. And these relationships are often used to create new categories or create indexable filtering options in layered navigation. So you can use topical maps to plan for that. And one quick example of that would be like product and color. And you would create topical map that talks about colors of products. And also there's keyword-based relationships. This type of relationship is often used on informational content and can include keywords like you have this one product and you would like to have content pieces around it, like how to choose this type of product, what it is, and what the benefits are of such product. And topical maps can be a very powerful tool to actually plan it and illustrate that.
Indeed. I think using topical maps to really nail down which keywords you're targeting where in category 3 in the layered navigation and you showing that relationship between, really powerful for getting semantically everything on your e-commerce site covered and ranking. Let's move on, but we're still keeping on the topical maps topic and trend. Haralds, what are your reasons why you're using topical maps?
There are several reasons. The top 4 I have highlighted here. One of the main ones is topical maps can be very helpful when you're trying to build topical authority on one topic. And you can basically visualize all the topics, subtopics, subtopics that you need to cover related to your main concept that you want to optimize for and become an authority on it. It's also great as a blueprint for content strategy. Creating lots of content and hoping for the best is like building a house one brick at a time, and without having big picture understanding of how it's going to turn out. At some point, you're going to have structural issues. And in addition to that, it's a great tool for pillar cluster content planning if you are planning to utilize this model. And if you want to go one step further, you can use them to benchmark your website against competition. You could even go as far as creating topical maps of 2-3 of your biggest competitors and comparing them to your own. That way you can identify content topic gaps and have visual representation of how they structure their topic relationships actually.
Indeed, very powerful tool. Moving on, we are almost done with trends. I think we have one more. Wrapping up the topical maps topic and moving on to the EEAT, which is known by many SEO experts, but Dana will talk us through what it is.
I know we're running a bit low on time, so I'm going to try to be short with this, because overall the biggest change here is that in double EEAT, the newest E that was introduced is experience, but all of these kind of just combined are creating a great user experience in general. When they are looking for content, they want to trust the content that you are providing. So what actually experience means, it's that the content writer has tried the product, that they have visited the place, that they actually have some knowledge about what they are talking about. And I think this kind of goes together with our next topic as well, artificial intelligence, because as we know, there's out to be a lot more content created just due to how easy it's gonna get, I guess. And this experience point is the one that is kind of dividing us from the machines, and then giving us the leverage here. So yeah, experience, how we tried this, then expertise. If you have tried this, you maybe have tried it another time and you're actually experienced in the topic that you are talking about. If we're talking about recipes, for example, I tried this recipe, I wrote about it. Then if I'm a trained chef and I tried or created this recipe, it already gives me more leverage. I don't know, one example that comes to my mind is like beef Wellington. I think that's like a recipe that was created by, who's that guy?
Gordon Ramsay.
Chef. Sorry? Gordon Ramsay. Yes, yes, exactly. So, you know, that's expertise there. Now, of course, you can get expertise different ways. It's not just about you creating it or you just being there, but there are different signals that can, sorry, Sarah, that can give impulses to Google to understand that you the quality of content is actually there because you have backlinks. Maybe people share your article on social media. That's a good signal that you have expertise about this content. And then the next one is authority, which would be in different cases and mostly like especially if you're providing services, these can be case studies, or these can be like already established go-to sources for some specific topic.
Indeed. I think something to mention here, maybe a bit of a, if we still have time, well, is that funny story when in scandiweb we were working on our content creation and SEO strategies and trying to rank up the landing page related to web development. We noticed that it really went up when we started publishing more case studies around Magento and web development. And it can be similar in your industry. So if you work in law firm or any kind of specific service providing firm, don't neglect your case studies and the informational content around it, and use links to link to your main landing pages, because then your actual service pages will help, you'll get better results. Okay, moving on. I think final thing about today before the QA, responsible use of artificial intelligence. Responsive artificial intelligence use. Dana, I think you have a few things to mention here, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like the topic that has been talked about a lot in the last couple of months. Everyone's very excited, and if you have tried it yourself, you know why everyone's excited, because it really is quite cool to just find information or categorize some stuff in like a very simple way. I wish I was a student right now, because it would definitely help me to do some tasks there as well. But the most important thing, I guess, from SEO perspective is that it's cool. We could create a lot of content, but Google will catch on. So it's always good to kind of remember that these are still bots and we are humans that need to cross-check and add or special something to the content that we are creating using these bots. But yeah, how not to make fools of ourselves in the process when we are using these tools. as I said before, just cross-checking, use your common sense, see what is written, whether or not you understand or your users will understand it. Then if you want to be more precise, if you want to have actual real examples, be sure to include multiple metrics and attributes when you ask for stuff. Like, for example, if you're creating meta descriptions, add how many characters should be included, what attributes, colors you want to include there, or what else is important for your business. And then examine and test and test and test once again. Examine the data, especially if you're even creating like some I think, I don't know, you can create structured data markup there, but just like cross-check it with tools or yourself, but better trust already trusted tools. And yeah, the last thing I think is important to mention is that let's remember that artificial intelligence actually learns from us. So there are a lot of like funny or kind of weird examples where some AI tools were released, like Twitter chatbot Tay, which learned from offensive things that users replied to it. And in the end, it just basically turned into a racist, sexist hate machine. And it was switched off less than a day after the initial release. And it's the same thing here, just like be mindful whether or not the information that is provided to you is actually correct.
Yep, but still it's a great tool to use. And we're going to show our first use case, which we found in our day-to-day lives, which is regex generation through the use of Chat-GPT prompts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Regex can be very powerful everyday tool for SEO specialists, especially for various data analysis tasks. That's data analysis, as we know, is crucial for SEO. And regex, for example, could be used in Google Analytics, Google Sheets, Search Console, Looker Studio reports, and even some more technical SEO tasks like URL rewrites or includes excludes in screaming frog crawls. And it's kind of tricky thing to actually write yourself. So with Chat-GPT, you can get it up and running in basically a few minutes or even less. You just write the parameters of what kind of string you want it to match, and you have it ready. But important to remember is that you always should double check it through a debugger. And yeah, if all is good there, then you can just pop it wherever you want to go. And yeah.
And I think, sorry to interrupt, but really cool feature because I think last year or 2 years ago now, Search Console announced that they're now supporting regex. And obviously there are a lot of extensions for data analysis and data extraction from Search Console, like keywords for sheets, for example, which also then use where you can use the regex filtering, therefore getting a lot of cool data sets together and getting some insights. And yeah, really cool stuff, because I personally also struggle with regex, as I can think multiple people might. Yeah, cool. Use case number 2, we're back with semantic SEO and attribute and angle research. I guess Haralds will share.
Yes, for sure. Semantic SEO and Chat-GPT work really well together. It's trained on an enormous amount of data, so it certainly will have some useful patterns and information related to content angles that you might not be covering in semantic SEO. And yeah, on the right side, you can see that I created an example and I asked it to provide attribute ideas for better user experience for a website that sells flooring. And the provided answers that it gave me was color attribute, finish attribute, style, pattern, and durability attributes, all of which are actually very important for the user when choosing flooring options. And you can just simply do this, and then you can develop strategy on whether you can introduce them as categories or even as filtering options in layered navigation, if the product supports it, of course.
Yep, indeed, can be used for semantic SEO as well. Yeah, but also for even some subtopic idea generation for articles, and you're doing the keywords research, right?
I love this part of AI, because as a copywriter, when you have this writer's block, you don't know what exactly you want to write about or how to like structure the article better. This actually is real good help. It helps you. For example, you have an article, you know what you need to write about, the topic is there, but you're not sure what to include underneath there. So subtopics that Chat-GPT gives to you are not maybe always the most relevant ones, but they really do help you to just kind of broaden your views, what to write about it and next. And I really enjoy this, and I have used this as both for myself when I'm writing content, as well as providing similar guidelines to copywriters that write content for my clients, because just giving them a list of keywords that they need to add to the article isn't always helpful and isn't always that clear, especially if they haven't worked with SEO. So this actually gives them more reference where to use these keywords, how to add them in the content. And also, if we're talking about in general, like header tags that you should use in the content, I think this is also a great tool. It helps you organize your articles better.
Indeed. So if there is any copywriter watching this, Chat-GPT might be useful. Right. And then the fourth use case, meta description generation.
Yeah, in this case, I know that there are a lot of things that Google has said about Chat-GPT or content generation in general, and that they don't really fully recognize it as a good practice. But one thing I think we have noticed that for meta descriptions, they don't mind if we use it, as long as it's like still relevant, and meta descriptions are not ranking factor. But as I said before, during the times when people are searching for stuff, this is something that will help you to stand out in between other results that show up on search. So cool click-through, call to action words, maybe some relevant information, just like nice to read meta descriptions is definitely something that Chat-GPT can help you out with. Even like creating templates for meta titles and descriptions as well, or giving you ideas how you could in general construct these. Of course, there are some bulk options now as well, like plenty of templates out there where you can just connect Chat-GPT to your
Google Sheets.
Google Sheets, exactly. Thank you, Hendrix. And do it in bulk. But then again, just cross-check if everything is fine, and there's suddenly, instead of flowers, it's not mentioning something else, or instead of apples, it's mentioning iPhone. So yeah, that's something to always kind of keep in mind. Also, similar thing with alt text generation, that can really help you out, at least like in bulk, show you what these alt texts could be like. But yes, cross-check, test.
Indeed. a lot of cool things to do with Chat-GPT, but I think we'll wrap up here and turn on to the Q&A. So actually, we have one question in the official Q&A section, which if you, Dan and Haralds, don't mind, I would like to answer because you guys spoke a lot already, right? And I need some need to say something as well. Emre asks, so she says that she's a student, right? Maybe okay. Emre is a student and is curious about the future of SEO profession. Do we have any advice here? Why did I volunteer to answer this? Because I recently kind of made the career switch from being an SEO specialist to becoming a marketing project manager. And I think that the SEO profession is going to be relevant, and we will have work if that's something you're worried about. However, I can answer personally why I chose that. The career path is because you learn a lot of things about web development, marketing in general, analytics, data analysis, when you're starting out as an SEO executive, for example. So a lot of valuable skills and that you learn through the, if you want to enter just the marketing or IT, can be gained from SEO. And therefore, I have my advice would be, if you find the right company or the right mentors and support, and you enjoy it, then it's still very much not a dead industry, as we can probe in numbers. But yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just
anything
asked
else to
very
add?
loaded questions.
Yeah, because there is one from Sarah. Well, two questions, which I'll answer. And I think we can go like this, that I'll start with reading them and you might try to answer them. But yeah, so Sarah asks, with Chat-GPT, how do you think SEO will change? How is our keyword research going to change? I'm thinking that the search intent will change, like the how-to searches are going to drop. I was wondering, what SEO strategies are you already adjusting in response to Chat-GPT? Well, yeah, the any volunteers before I start answering?
I think this is a good question actually for Haralds, because it kind of goes together with semantic SEO. This is, I think, how the SEO will change in the next couple of years.
Yes, I am thinking here that not to lose out on this, one of the core things and ideas behind the articles would have to be EEAT, actually human content versus the bot content. And of course, a lot of the how-to articles will no longer be relevant. I can myself also notice patterns that for simple mundane things, I'm using Chat-GPT instead of actually going to Google. And yeah, it depends. It highly depends actually on the type of keywords, but for sure, I expect that part of them will see a noticeable drop for sure.
Yep, and I think that you have to be aware of these things, and if you have an SEO agency you're working with, probably ask them questions on how they're going to tackle it, and etc. But I think that people will still be using Google, and if the Chat-GPT becomes really prominent, you cannot buy stuff from there, right? So I don't think they will really add links to some specific websites where you can buy stuff. For example, if I'm trying to figure out which Nike sneaker should I choose, so there's still a space for SEOs to rank in positions 1, 2, 3 and stuff. If you're trying to improve rankings for a Nike shoes reseller. and then get that sorted. And a question too from Sarah. I'm a marketeer.
I think one of my I'm a copywriter myself, and even before Chat-GPT became like a thing, I also used AI writers or even some tools like Quillbot that help you. And I'm not fluent in English, I guess, no, but it's not my mother tongue. So it's always good to cross-check on Grammarly or other tools whether or not I actually make sense. So similar as you, Sarah, I already used them before, but I think that the best thing that I read recently about your question particularly is that previously Google said that we need to all write quality content, and so a lot of people wrote quality content. So it wasn't distinguished between which I guess what I want to say is that if you're mindful about the content that you write, if you do use some other tools in the content creation, and but at the same time give something from yourself as well, it's not gonna detect that it's not 100% human. The most important thing here is that it is actually valuable, that it is actually giving valuable information to whoever is reading it, and that it is answering all the questions that the content should answer to.
I think that's the question two that we question number two we covered here from Sarah. Yeah, there are some more questions that are not that many questions, but appreciate the kind words, Malik. Evia says that there are already tools that you can use with AI created content, so it would not be recognized as AI content. True, and there are, you can probably add a bit of a twist to the AI generated content and rinse it before you publish it. So I think Dana is more of an expert in this field and can comment more, but we're definitely not disencouraging you from using AI and ChatGPT. Just be, as the title was, use it responsibly and be aware of consequences, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. As I said before, you can use AI to generate content, then use like Quillbot to kind of spin the text around a bit, then use Grammarly to check for any mistakes, and then use, I don't know, your own common sense to see whether or not the stuff that you wrote actually makes sense, and it is doable. And of course, it makes the time of content generation a lot less than it used to be before. But yeah, still be mindful, be sure that you know that what you're writing about.
Yep. And I think that our final question that we have is for Emre. So this question for this is the question for scandiweb. Are there any plans to perform an event for QA testing job? Well, if by event you mean a webinar, I have no idea about this. Maybe there, like, just follow the scandiweb on LinkedIn, and there will be the latest webinars there. And I think there are ways you can find the job ads about this QA position from LinkedIn and through other sites. So yeah, I think that answered your question. So just follow us on LinkedIn, on social media. We'll announce any events, and applications also should be accessible. Cool. I think that did I miss any questions? I think I'm going through the chat again, but we might be heading off soon. As we already mentioned and written in the chat, The recording of the webinar will be sent to the email that you registered with. And I think that there will be a recording available on YouTube probably afterwards. So looking forward to hearing my voice. And then I think that's probably it. Thanks for everyone who joined in the chat. Some great knowledge shared. And then yeah, I think that's it. We're wrapping up soon.
See you in the next SEO presentation, I guess, or see Oleg in the next presentation. Thank you guys for joining. It was awesome to see you all here. Thank you for all your questions. It was a blast.
Thank you, guys.